Hello and welcome to Survive the Unexpected with your host, Frank Pacino, and my partners in crime, as usual, James Hanson, Maynard Bryant. And we also have the lovely Janelle joining us again. She talked about the last episode with me, and she wanted to come on here and talk. Maybe not as enthusiastic as she was last week, but she's here. But before we get started, please leave us a like, subscribe. It will mean a lot to us. So I'm just gonna stop right now for a moment, and I'll give Amanda the floor.
That's right. Eat it up, bitches. I won fantasy. And let's go back to the very first podcast episode when you all told me that I would not win. How could you pick Cassidy? How could you pick Gabler? You know, where do they place first and second? First and second. Eat it up. You know what? I'm also second place right now in our fantasy football. So Amanda's just killing it in fantasy this season. That's all. That's all.
For the record, I had second place. Just saying.
Whatever.
All right,
and
so
probably a stronger team.
I smoked them. I smoked them by like 13 points. Don't listen to them. I was obvious front runner in that Survivor draft with my picks of Cassidy, Gabler, and Ryan.
Wow.
my picks were Jesse, Ellie, and Sammy.
Those
Yeah.
are good picks.
All beat mine. I had Owen, Justine, and NECA, so I had the second and third
Oh.
food, and I had the 0 vote finalists. So
Your team was
Yeah, that
stacked,
did not
bro.
go well for
as
you.
the first overall pick, 0 vote finalist.
Hey, I mean, you got to the finals, so that's
Yeah,
part of
we can
now
get more
positive.
into
I
him
killed
in a
it.
bit, but
I killed it. And I did it all going in blind. All I
Ugh.
knew was what they looked like and with like their name and where they were from. That was it. I didn't read any bios. I didn't listen to any interviews. Nothing. I went in completely blind, picked a rocking team.
All right, so well, that wasn't what we expected, but we got a winner in Gabler winning 7-1-0. Initial thoughts, James.
yeah, I'm shocked. Pretty much since the merge, I thought he had the worst chance of winning of any of the players, and the edit didn't really show us anything otherwise. Like, no, there was no suggestion that he maybe had a chance to pull this thing off until they really got to the final tribal council, and we kind of start to see how the jury's answering Owen and Cassidy's how they're reacting to their jury responses. So I don't think that it completely drags down the season, because it's almost like comical that someone like Gabler, who is a like season 1 or season 2 type of player, the way he approaches the game, went on to win this game in season 43. It's just crazy, and it shows you that anybody can really win the game. But I mean, it really wasn't what I was expecting. I wanted Jesse to win the game going into this finale and pretty much most of the season, but I think that the finale wasn't terrible because it was just so shocking. I was speechless completely.
Okay, how about you, Janelle?
Boo! That's what I think. Boo! I was not really a Gabler. Like, I don't hate the guy or anything, but I just found him kooky and weird, and he just wasn't my jam, right? His game is very bland to me. I did not expect him to win ever. And my opinion at large is the vote for Gabler was more so a vote against Cassidy than it was for Gabler and
Yeah,
Gabler's game.
I
don't
agree.
know what they're saying now in Exit Press. That's just the feeling that I have. And I also, with a couple of things that I have heard, feel like there's a little bit of sour grapes going on, which I don't judge. People are human. They have emotions. They get mad, sad, upset. They put their heart and soul into the game. So I don't knock them for being a little upset. And I truly wish they had a little bit more time to sit with their emotions and process and think or something. Jesse had 24 hours out, like he went out, and then had to make that choice. That's another thing I don't like about this shorter format is because people are going out back to back to back to back to back. And I bet you it's like a span of like 10 to 12 days from when Janine went out to when we crowned the winner. It's so fast now. So I think emotions played a lot. I think that they just, for whatever reason, did not want to see Cassidy win. I don't think that there is some amazing Gabler game. It's just who they like the best out of the three. Is how I feel.
So going into it, I felt like it was, and this is the finale. I felt like Jesse was the lead, Carla was in second, Cassie was third, Gable was fourth, Owen was last for me. I know a lot of people had it switched the other way around.
Yeah.
I just felt like Owen, he made fun. He called himself the Charlie Brown of the season, and that's all I could envision was somebody that just couldn't connect with the ball. And so it's just that's all I can envision when she said that. And he kept missing and missing and he, besides his immunity wins, I
Mm-hmm.
think he missed almost every time he took a swung um that he attempted. Now he did come up on a couple plans, but anything he attempted himself just didn't fall through. So that's why I felt like he wasn't going to win.
I mean, that's understandable, yeah.
I felt like Cassie was in the majority, and I thought her relationship with Carla, James, and some of the women would probably get her the win. I felt like James was going to vote for her before. This is before we seen the finale. I felt like
Yeah.
Carla was going to vote for her if she was there because of the relationship they had throughout the season, and I felt like she could have got like a Janine's vote, and then maybe like a Jesse vote if he's not there. That's what I
Yeah.
was feeling going into the finale, and 4 votes I thought would have been enough because the other two guys were going to split. Because I thought Noel was going to go Owen for sure, and then I felt like Cody was going Gabler. But then we get to a 7-1-0 vote, and I don't think we've seen two contestants sit there with their mouths open and shocked that they lost to somebody ever before in a season, and that I felt like a lot of America had the same face Cassie and Owen did when Gabler won. I'm not surprised after watching it. I wasn't surprised Gabler won. I was surprised on how he won. 7-1 is a strong win.
Yes, that's what I said.
Right.
And it's been 7-1 for the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Craziness. And also listening to like even the big media names in Survivor that always do the exit press, blog about it, talk about it, post about it, they all have the same exact reaction. Like, what the heck just happened? Nobody expected that, especially 7-7.
Yeah.
None of y'all like
Yeah. So Gabler wins.
Hold on, Frank.
Oh, sorry, Amanda.
haven't-
Go ahead. I gave you your son time. Go ahead, Amanda.
No, it's okay. Okay, so maybe let me just start by saying I think I might have a little bit of a biased way of how I feel about this because I did have Gabler for both of my fantasies. So when I was watching this season, I wanted him to do well because I wanted to win fantasy. So I was really looking for like every positive thing that he could do throughout the season as I was watching. I think that kind of helps. I don't mind Gabler as a winner. I don't mind the season. Do I think it's like my top half? No. I don't think he's a top half winner for me. But I wouldn't put him or the season really in my bottom 25% either. So it's kind of like in that lower middle zone for me. I don't know if it's just because I like Survivor. I don't have a lot of seasons that I dislike. So I still was entertained by this season. I thought that Gabler had great game awareness. I thought that he knew where he fit in the puzzle of these people, and he played it to his advantage in the sense of not being too overpowering. I think that this season was a Jesse story. I think that that's what Survivor wanted to tell us was the Jesse story. And even though he didn't win, they still highlighted him as the, main attraction. And once, they made us experience the heartbreak of him losing. And I think that that's what really the season was building up to, is you loving Jesse because he was a great player, because he was so passionate about it, and then him ultimately falling from grace. And I think that, it was a story that we were not ready for or expected to happen, but it did. And then once that happened, it was pretty much like the end of the story. Like, it didn't matter to me going into final tribal. I didn't care who won, in the sense of like all three of them equally had a chance to, for me. I didn't mind Owen's underdog story. I thought that Cassidy played a good majority game. And then, Gabler, who had great game awareness and kind of didn't fit in anywhere and still made it through. So, I mean, I enjoyed all three in the sense of I understand why all three of them were there, but ultimately all of us, I think, wanted Jesse to win because that's the story that we were given. And that's just not the way Survivor panned out. They didn't give us a winner story. They gave us Jesse's story.
Yeah. So we get to all right, so we do another reunion right afterwards, which I'm not a huge fan of.
Boring.
It's boring because we want to see I wanted to see Ellie's reaction when she found out Gabler won the game. Can you imagine the television to see Ellie's face and she's like, "This is what happens when you trust Gabler," and you get to find out that he wins the whole shebang? That would have been golden. And because of the way they do it, we don't get to see that. Bring them back on the island. I know they're fucking there. Just bring them back.
Yeah, I agree. I hate how they do this, and mostly for two reasons. Because there are going to be moments on the show that fans love, are excited about, riled up about, that were favorite moments of the audience. And we can't reflect on that in this kind of reunion because nobody knows what that could possibly be. They're only talking about the things that they can see as opposed to the full edit that we see. So a lot of stuff is missing that I used to like about the reunion when they bring up those big moments that we can't get that moment anymore. And I just feel bad for the losers, the people that don't win.
Yeah.
They have to sit there and sit through that final tribal and act happy when they just lost the game.
Right after.
That was right after Cassidy said that was very, very hard to actually sit there and sit with that. She said that she drank way too much because of it. She was just trying to make it through. And she said she wished she would have had some time to decompress.
Yeah. I mean, because what if we seen Carla seen the conversation she had with Cassie, and then comes back and said, "Wow, I reacted terribly towards you." Da da da. Those are the moments we're missing from the reunion.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't get to see the way she came across on the show.
Yeah.
From her her perspective, she probably thinks she was in the right in that conversation, and she handled it perfectly fine. But as we've seen, she overreacted with Cassidy, and a lot of people, when they do that, go at the reunion and apologize for the way they reacted. We don't get to see those moments like that because of the reunion they choose to do. But we find out Gabler is going to donate all $1 million of his winnings to veterans and their recoveries when they have injuries, disabilities, or PTSD when they come back. I feel like he's telling this throughout the season. We just didn't get to see it because they didn't want.
No, they confirmed that nobody knew until after the game was over.
I feel like he was telling people in his I feel like he was telling production in his confessionals about it, not people. I feel like he was talking about it instead of highlighting it throughout the season to give he's probably there's a good chance he's gonna win if he's gonna. They keep highlighting this.
Aren't you not allowed to tell other people that?
There might be a rule, but I feel like he
said it to production. From what I read on Reddit, you are not allowed to share the money, and two, you're not allowed to I don't think you're allowed to promise any sort of compensation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because remember Paloma from the last Big Brother season, she got caught on the feed saying something about splitting the
Sure.
money.
You
He's an
just share the
idiot.
money with all of us.
Yeah.
Dude, I swore I saw Paloma at Hearts of Reality, but Schaefer told me it wasn't her. But I swear I thought I saw her there.
I imagine she wouldn't get an invite because she
Yeah, I don't think
No.
so either.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much to talk about the reunion part. I think that's about it.
No.
No, I mean I missed and I'm a fan of the reunions.
I
Like
know
I
you are.
watch all. I'm a huge fan of the reunions. I love that they all get to sit together and talk about the season, and you get to hear people's perspectives from it. And you said this. Why did you do this? Like, I almost would. I would love to listen to like a Zoom call, like a recorded like RHAP, like all 16 of them on a Zoom at the same time, and they're all just talking about the season for like 4 hours. I would listen. I would pay to listen to that. I would pay to listen to that for real. And I think that we got a little bit of that at the at the past reunions where they're all sitting together. Jeff talks to every single one of them. I enjoyed that, and we don't have that anymore. It's just, I agree, it's too fresh, and I think that's what they're going for. They like how like a Survivor likes how fresh it is, but us as an audience doesn't like how fresh it is, and neither do the players.
Let
No.
the people have a minute to. They just went through the ringer,
Mhm.
especially the final three. Let them have a day, or at least.
Yeah.
Like, let them,
Yeah, it's rough. So the episode started out. We'll just start at the beginning where they have the mad dash for the advantage again, and Owen gets real close and Charlie Brown's it again. Carla gets it.
That was so funny. I felt bad.
How are you guys over the advantage at 5 or whatever, or 6? Yeah, 5.
I don't care.
I don't
It's
mind a challenge
whatever.
advantage.
Yeah.
So, it's fun to watch them just try to get it, whatever.
I don't like how much screen time goes to it, but I don't mind a challenge advantage at 5.
I don't
Yeah,
Didn't
either.
there's
help her
nothing.
any.
It's never anything too like overpowering either. Which
Yeah.
at this point, you can't make any sort of advantage that overpowering.
Right.
So, and I mean, with the 3-hour finale, they have a little bit more leeway to show a little more than they normally would in a regular episode. So,
Yeah.
I don't think it takes too much away from the screen time either. I think it's fine.
And go ahead. Sorry.
I was so happy Carla got it because at that point I really wanted her, because I knew that if she did not get it, she was going out at this spot, right?
Yeah.
I was very excited when she got it. I was like, yes, please win this, Carla. She was close. She got to the podium first despite her injury. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was really pulling for her at that moment because I was really excited for her because I wanted her to survive this vote.
Yeah. So we get to the challenge. Owen ends up winning the challenge, making up for it. I felt like Carla and Jesse's best move was to vote together this round. I said it last week, and I truly stand by that. That someone like Cassie or Owen, who are better at the challenges, Owen might be better at fire.
He had immunity that round, didn't he?
Yeah, he had immunity that round,
Yeah.
so Owen couldn't go that round. So Cassie would have been the next best to go.
Apparently not. Apparently it's Gabler.
Gabler, yeah.
Yeah.
But in the eyes, like Carla and Jesse should have not gunned for each other, because I mean, if I'm Jesse, I want to go against Carla in fire, the girl who's having all these hand problems, that her body's breaking down, or I want to face her in immunity, who's having all these hand problems, her body's breaking down. Like, that's the girl I want to keep around. Yes, she is like a threat to win the game, but you have a couple shots to take at her still. And Jesse had the plan for the fact that he had to go to fire, and I don't think he thought about it like that much. And that was one of his big downfalls.
I'm really surprised that her body was breaking down. What was it? Day 23? 22?
Oh, she cut her hand, I think,
playing...
pre-merge.
Okay, I was saying, imagine Carla like playing a 39-day game. Like, I don't know if she would
I said
make
that
it.
about Gabler.
Gabler wouldn't have made it either.
Yeah.
I mean, remember, how many times, Frank, that I said Gabler I thought was going to get medically evacuated this season.
Yeah.
I said it all season. I said it maybe until a couple weeks ago, but Premerge, I thought he might not have not made it through without getting voted out or getting to the end. I mean, clearly I was wrong.
Yeah. Like we don't know. They get Rice and 39s. Maybe that helps them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like we don't know for sure what the outcome would have been, but
Yeah.
Gabler was definitely struggling to get past these couple days, and that's why it's like, oh, they're setting up for him to lose in fire because he's struggling so much. But no, it wasn't. It was him.
So
Getting the win.
if you think that Jesse should have voted out either Cassidy or Gabler at 5, I don't know what I think about that.
Because think about it, let's say, or Owen, or it would have been at that point either Carla, unless Carla falls, or Jesse or Gabler to win. And Gabler already dropped. Jesse didn't drop at that point. What if Jesse wins now because Cassie's not there?
Yeah, it could have been.
Like
Yeah.
he was in currently second place when Cassidy won. And then he goes to final 3. He beats anybody that's at final 3, I believe. Even Carla.
I don't think it mattered who
I
he
agree.
sat with.
Yeah, it says a lot that when Jesse was making fire, that jury was clearly rooting for him to win that. Like that speaks volumes in and of itself that the jury was rooting for him to win fire because they wanted the chance to vote for him.
Right.
So yeah, I agree. If he got there, he had the win, but
he should have never voted Cody out. He should have never voted Cody out, and Cody would have taken him to the.
Disagree.
Nope. He should have never voted Cody out, and Cody
he
would have
lost to
and
Cody.
He still would have beat him.
No,
he
would have beaten Cody.
No, Jesse would not have lost to Cody.
No, listen to the exit interviews. They were going to vote Cody. Cody was the front winner when he got voted out.
Yeah, I mean that's what I feel too. According to
especially if he pulls that move off against Carla, he gets the credit for that, not Jesse.
The move that he wanted to make as opposed to what actually happened was a good, solid plan. It was a good plan.
It was a good plan.
But if he didn't take Cody out at that time, Cody had an idol for 4. He's idol at 5, automatically in the final 4. So I get why he wanted him out in the spot that he wanted him out. It's a big gamble and it didn't pay off. I do think Cody would have, if he had the choice, taken Jesse to the end, but I think Jesse would have lost against him.
Yeah. Or they would have split votes and lost to the third competitor.
Oh God.
Like who? Owen? Oh God. No, I don't think so.
Because Owen didn't get any votes.
Yeah, I don't think they would have lost to a third competitor.
You never know.
I think it would have been close between them two, but I think if Jesse would have been able to argue his game the way we saw it, I think Jesse could have beaten anyone on this entire cast.
Yeah. But think about it. At 6, if he pulls off the move, the blindside Carla with an idol in front of the jury, after he made this big thing about, oh, we're gonna play our idols. Me and Carla talked about it. And he pulls one over on her in front of the jury, in front of everybody. He gets all the credit. That wins him the game, and he's probably winning Final 4 immunity and taking Jesse. And that's another notch under Cody's belt. Cody probably wins the season.
Remember, too, that one.
I don't know what she said.
She's mute.
I said one of the only Survivor seasons that Cody has watched is Ghost Island, which is the Dom and Wendell season.
Yeah. He didn't know much about Survivor going in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did read that.
Yeah, he only watched a couple seasons.
I think
ready to throw it out to the end because of that season.
Yeah. So I think Jesse's biggest. I think the mistake was taking out Carla at 5, but Carla had to put her ego aside as well and realize that Jesse was probably the best bet to be at Fire too.
I think Jesse ultimately, in my opinion, you could have said hindsight, say Jesse shouldn't have gotten rid of Cody. I'm a little bit indifferent. I think he could have gotten rid of him, could have kept him, and still could have won. But in reality, Jesse's real downfall was that he had 2 chances to win a challenge, the final immunity challenge and the fire making challenge, and couldn't do it. And I've seen people saying that Jesse screwed because of the fire making challenge. I don't think that's the case. I think he's voted out 3-1.
Yeah,
if there's no fire making challenge. If anything, the fire making challenge gave
him a chance.
Someone like Jesse an extra chance, which is why I really don't hate the fire making challenge as much as some people, or as much as some other things they've thrown at us in recent seasons and recent years. So
I've come to accustomed to it as much. Like if you asked me when it first came out, I loathed it. But I think I've come around to it a little bit more. It's not the worst thing they've ever done.
No.
But yeah,
So we all agree though that if there's no fire, Jesse's voted out.
3-1
right there.
Yes,
he needed to win there, or have somebody take him, and nobody was going to take him.
No one was going to take him. And even if he convinced,
maybe Gabler, I can maybe see Gabler going to Rocks with him. Maybe.
No, he wouldn't have been Rocks. Jesse would have went to Fire anyways and still lost.
I'm not talking about Fire. If there's just a vote.
If it was a vote,
yeah, but they don't go to Rocks. They don't
go to Rocks.
They go to a fire making challenge.
That's right. They go to fire making challenge. Yeah, so I knew that once Jesse was going to Fire, he was going to lose. He has not won a single competition all season long. There was no way he was going to win Fire. I just knew that it wasn't going to happen. I knew that Gabler was going to win that fire making challenge. Yeah. I thought it was obvious that Gabler was going to win that fire making challenge. And especially since they highlighted Cassidy, saying that whoever beats Jesse in Fire, it's going to boost their resume. And she was hesitant about going to Fire herself because she didn't want to give somebody else a chance to boost their resume, which I thought was a very smart move on Cassie's part for even considering and thinking of that. You know what I'm saying? All of them wanted to go to Fire because all of them wanted to prove themselves. And I almost expected Cassidy to do it. I thought she was really close to doing it. I haven't listened to Exit Press, but she would have lost.
She said she wasn't good at Fire, and she felt like she earned her way, which I agree with her. She won that challenge. I think it's absolutely ridiculous for that jury to hold it over her head that she did not make Fire.
100%.
That's ridiculous. I hate it.
There's instances where it makes sense to send yourself to Fire against the biggest threat, but for Cassidy in that situation, it made absolutely zero sense.
No, because she believed in her game. She didn't believe that she had to. Yeah, she didn't believe that she had to. She thought that she played a good enough game to win. And I agree. I think that I think that the jury was unnecessarily bitter against her. I really do. And I read it from them as soon as FTC started. As soon as FTC started, I knew that this jury was going to be against Cassidy, and I have a strong indication it's because of Carla. I have a very strong indication it's because of Carla. And, Carla being so fresh on the jury, I think that she had a very persuasive mouth in that, fight.
Same with Jesse.
Yeah.
And Jesse as well. And it's crazy because both of them worked with Cassidy during the season, and not just for a little bit, for a good amount of time.
Yes,
and that's for a good amount of time.
What do you guys think of the two things of Carla saying if she voted her out, she was gonna poison the jury against her, one, and then two, Jesse telling her, unless you make Fire against me, I'm not gonna vote for you, and I'm voting for Gabler. And they, from what I have come to collect, seems like that is all true. He didn't vote for her, he voted for Gabler. And she said someone told her Carla was speaking against her at Ponderosa. Where are we going if you, you have to be able to play the game. You have to vote people out to get to the end. And it's not like it's a tribe of 8 where she can like give them a vote for sympathy and not vote against them. We're down to 5-6 people. Every vote counts. So I feel really bad for her in that regard. But what do you guys think of that?
I think Carla really disappointed me as a fan. I was a real big fan of her.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she handled that very poorly, especially to somebody that you were really close with out there.
All
uh,
game.
all game. And I felt like the tactic with Cassidy was for her to pull the heartstrings. Like, hey, Cassidy, I have had your back this whole game. Whatever you heard wasn't true. And even or even fess up like, yeah, I did, but I felt like I had to at the point. But we should have a common enemy in
And
Jesse this
Jesse.
round.
Yeah.
And you will be able to beat me in a challenge. I'm falling apart. You'll be able to beat me in fire. I'm falling apart.
Yeah.
That's the tactic she should have went with instead of trying to strong arm Cassie and belittle her game. Because even if you survive that round now, and Cassie somehow ends up in a jury, she's gonna be bitter towards you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
I
felt like
agree.
that whole conversation was bad, and Cassie did get defensive, but she had every right to be defensive, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. It was crappy. And I think that honestly, it was just she knew she was going out. So she was going to, I'm sure her emotions were heightened. She was mad, upset, whatever you're feeling. I can't imagine that feeling of defeat when she'd worked so hard. But I think that she was just emotional and she was throwing everything at the wall. She says now it was just a game tactic. I don't necessarily believe that. I believe that she probably spoke against Cassidy. That's very believable for me. I just find it disappointing because that's just a crappy thing to hold over somebody's head. If you vote me out, I'm not voting for you. You know,
Yeah,
it's terrible.
It's a bad look.
Yes.
What about you, James?
So like I was a big fan of Carla's game most of the season, and I think the maybe last episode or two, and then especially this until she got voted out, I think we started to see her kind of unravel a little bit. And I think, as Janelle said, I think a lot of that is the conditions of playing the game and how much of a toll it really takes on you. So I think she could say it was a game thing, but I don't think it really was either. I think it was kind of just getting to her really. So I'm not totally gonna hold it against her, but I think Carla kind of flamed out a little bit at the end after playing a very strong game for the most part.
Yeah,
But
that threat wasn't a good look for her.
yeah, I don't know if that this is something that would keep production from bringing her back or anything though, because
No,
I
I
do
don't
think
think
there's a good chance she could come back.
They
So
actively made her one of the stars.
yeah,
I liked her. I mean, I still like her, even though there's some negative things I don't necessarily love. I've heard like since just about possible jury tainting the jury against Cassidy. I don't really respect that, but I try to be very understanding that just gotta hurt. Like the fact that she played such a strong game and she couldn't get there. They just have to have a lot of emotions and
to each their own, really.
yeah, I think it's just easier to say, I would never do that. Oh, I hate when they call them poor sports too. That gets under my skin because you lose and just be all happy and gracious and
Yeah.
skip out, with rainbows and sunshine. Let these people feel their emotions. But yeah, it's disappointing and I wish she hadn't said it, but I want to see her back. I loved her. I loved her confessionals, even love her off of the game on social media. I love everything about her, but she's a human and
She
nobody's
made a
perfect.
mistake, and I felt like she might have owned. I feel like if she had the reunion to watch it with everybody and to see everyone's reaction, I think she might have been like, I might owe her an apology.
Yeah.
Um,
And Cassidy said that wasn't the worst of it. Like she said they really went at it, like back and forth.
Oh, interesting. Really?
Yeah, she said that was not the worst of it. So
well, that's disappointing.
I
Well,
think it was kind of mutual. I'm not saying it was like
okay.
100% Carla. I just think that she just said that wasn't the worst of their bickering
Argument.
that
Okay.
day. Yeah.
And Jesse saying that, I felt like it's one of those things that maybe he didn't respect her game and he was just being honest. But we don't know because we didn't see that conversation at all, really. Like
Mm-hmm.
we did
Nope.
see him say, "Hey, you should be the one to go in with me," but we didn't say, "If you don't go with me, I'm gonna vote for Gaylor, not you." We didn't see that conversation, so it's hard to say how it came across. We
Yeah.
don't know because we don't get to see it. Like we can only go off of what we've seen, and it's hard to know if what if Jesse was saying that to her, but then in his confession was like, "I really not gonna do that. I just want to try to get her to go to fire with me. Gives me the best chance." But we
True.
don't know because we didn't see the conversation. All the only one that really knows is what production and Jesse and her actually know.
Yeah, I haven't
So
heard, to be fair, I have not heard him speak about it. It's like she's, like I said to you earlier, but she's tiptoeing and trying to be very careful what she says. It seems like she's really taking time to think about what she says before she says it. And I don't know if that's the reason. Maybe, I'm sure you know the drama with Omar and Drea last season.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah,
Maybe that's the reason. I really don't know. I'd love to ask her. If I ever get the chance, I will, but I don't know.
yeah, we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but Carla goes out at 5. It was very
Oh,
sad.
so
Oh,
terrible.
we
What?
forgot the big bombshell that Jesse pulls out. Janine's idol.
Janine looked stunned.
Yeah,
I felt so
Yeah.
bad for her. She's like, oh, I think she was pissed because that was a lifeline that she could have had in the game that he had that whole time. I
and
felt bad
nobody
for
knew
her.
about it,
Yeah.
and it was
That
just
changed everything because that idol was, if played correctly, used to make a big move in the game, whether it's on her or on someone else. And that changed a lot of the game. So yeah, I mean, I could see how stunned she would be and how shocked she see that Jesse's the one still holding on to it. But
Yeah. Can you imagine when you were fighting to stay in and you lost your idol, but you never, like, you could have had it that whole time, but
well, yeah,
he
she
hadn't.
thought that. So she had no clue that she thought Dwight went out with it. So she had no clue
everyone
that
did.
Jesse had
Yes.
it while she was still even in the game.
Yeah. So it was. What'd you think of the move of him flaunting it and before the votes were read?
I don't think it was totally necessary, but I mean, if you want to get a little flashy in front of the jury, you already know you're a huge threat. You're probably gonna have to make fire. You're playing the idol no matter what. Why not? I mean,
Yeah.
To me, I feel like the move I would have attempted to do was get the votes onto me and then
And then
play my
vote who I
idol,
wanted to.
voted who I wanted to. And then you get that soul move like I got this from Dwight. You still get that moment, you still get that reaction, but then you get to be the sole person to send somebody onto that jury and
Yeah.
everyone gets to see it.
so
Hmm.
you think he shouldn't have just completely pulled it out?
No,
No, he
I
should
would
have
have
been
I would
silent.
have tried to got the votes onto myself somehow.
Yeah, like let everybody vote. Like if Jesse doesn't reveal the idol, let everybody vote for him. Let him pretend like he thinks he's going out, and then
Okay,
lay
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
super
Okay,
solo vote on like Carla is what he would have done. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
yeah,
took her
yeah.
out
At
by
first, I
himself.
thought Frank was trying to say still flash the idol, but get all the votes onto you, and I'm like, well, that's not gonna
No.
work. So you thought he should have just acted like he was going home and then
Play
pulled it
it.
out and just got one person out with the sole vote, which is that's what I thought he was going to do going into this episode. So
I think honestly he maybe had eyes on the perfect game, and
yeah,
by flaunting the idol, he was hoping to get no votes onto him because he's gonna play idol. I think he wanted that perfect game. I don't know if that for sure. It's just
Mhm.
my hunch that he felt like if I get no votes this round, I'll be able to go into if I get to FTC, have a chance to do something that only a handful of people have ever done. And so I think that might have been in the back of his head just a little bit.
Yeah, that would have
it's
been good.
true.
That would have been good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That would have been so good if he had done that. I think that'd have been good.
Because he even said when Carl was going, "You ruined my streak." She's like, "I couldn't let you have a perfect game." I was like, "Oh, I thought something like, why you gotta be so bitter?" Ugh.
Yeah.
So we get to the 4. We have I love I really enjoy this immunity challenge
Yeah, that's a good one.
where they have to go through the maze with the little pucks and stack them up. I feel like it doesn't benefit one person more than the other. It maybe helps a little bit being a little bit taller, but it's not like a detriment where it's like, wow, this person has such an advantage at this.
I
I mean,
wonder if
it's hard too.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
hard
and
too.
I wonder if they take that into account, like a short person versus a tall person, and alter their platform.
They might.
You know, they might. So it's
We
fair at least.
Yeah. We don't know that for sure. We're
Yeah.
not there. It's hard to see on TV. Everything's cutting real fast. So, and the last thing I'm looking at is like, is
The
this
platform
platform
height.
the same height? Like, let's put those next to each other. We'll see if they're the same height.
Yeah.
And Cassidy wins. Huge.
Oh, it's so close.
Owen so
He's
Owen
so close.
Owen
He
again
always like he's
missed
always
that
right
football.
there. Yes. And he said in Exit that if he had won, he was going to make fire against Jesse. What's the plan? Because he's like, because I needed it. He was like, I feel like I needed it to win or have a shot to even win. So
I would give Owen this. He knew where he stood with the jury, but he spent too much time downgrading his game where he should have did a mixture of being aware of his game and propping his game up. Where I felt like he just kept being like, well, I failed.
Mhm.
And in the process, he said, I failed, but I accomplished this and I was able to do this. Instead of doing that, he just kept saying, I tried, but I failed there. And that's why I felt like that's all we got from Owen in his FTC.
And he said that too in the Exit press. He was too self-deprecating.
See, I thought Owen, I think he's a great guy. Like, don't get me wrong. I think Gabler's a great guy too. I thought Owen, like, given the worst point of his game was the early portion of the merge where he was just completely lost. And that kind of killed his chances of winning, really. But I think once that happened, once he went through that tough portion of the game for him, I think he kind of found his footing a little bit because at one point it looked like maybe around final 10 that I didn't think he was going to get this far at all. I thought he was going anywhere from like 10th to like 7th place at best. And I think he could have sold it a little bit, that underdog story a little bit better if he kind of just didn't give up on himself a little bit too much. I think he was, like you said, a little bit too self-deprecating. Because I think given how poorly he played early on in the merge, I think that he did a decent job to get himself to the end. I think he just there was never really any time where he was driving anything.
No, it never worked out for him.
No.
He got in on things, but he was never like leading anything. Ever since Ellie went home, that was a really strong ally of his, and that side, just kind of went downhill after that. He can never work his way back into what was actually happening. No matter how hard he tried, he put in the effort. You can't make people play with you. A for effort, Owen. He got knocked down and he still got back up. He might have been pissed. He might have been throwing rocks or coconuts or kicking and screaming or arguing with somebody, but he still got back up, which I can appreciate because I'm sure it's not easy. No. Like knowing like this sucks. I'm not in with anybody. I'm on the wrong side of the votes. I don't know who's going. Like that has to be so defeating, And that's why he said like Carla getting that right from under him was just. He's like it was just crushing because he was like so winning that immunity right there. He said really boosted him.
And on top of that, like he's a huge fan, and. Like, can you imagine, like, I mean, if I ever got to play Survivor and I went out there and I just kept failing and failing and failing, I believe I probably would have some of the same reactions that Owen did. Being frustrated when you think you're going to do very well at the game, which he did in the physical aspect, but everything else he seemed like he struggled with, even the relationships. Like, he would have a good relationship, that person gets voted out. Then the people who are still in the game, he didn't have a great relationship with. So like the strategic part, he struggled at. the relationships he was wishy-washy with, and then the physical part was like probably his strongest part of the game, but he was a true fan, so he probably wanted it to be more of the strategic and social part and the physical down here.
Yeah. And I think that had Owen like been able to be in with the majority, if they were willing to work with him, that he would have been fine. Like as far as um playing along with people and getting along with people and everything like that. And I think that he could have contributed strategically too, but they just didn't want to play with them. Like
Right.
every time he thought it was one thing, it was not. It was something else, you know, or he's being blindsided. So, you know, A for effort, but and I think that if he had been given the chance, he could have done well in that
Yeah.
aspect, but just
I
never
mean,
panned out for him.
he voted right on the Janine vote, but because Gabler told him at the last minute, and
Yeah.
then he didn't vote at the split tribal, even though he was in on the plan. Then the very next round, he thinks he's getting momentum, and
Yeah.
then Noel gets blindsided, and he gets blindsided as well.
Yeah.
And that took almost all of his like he didn't have a lot of oxygen in the tank at that point, and that took most of it away right there. See
Yeah.
Noel go, he was like,
Ugh.
yep. So it was not. It wasn't. I think Owen would be perfect to play again. I think he's somebody who deserves a second chance. Like he clearly played hard and he wants it. So I would, if you're gonna play hard and you want to play, that's somebody I'd like to see play again.
Yeah, he's someone who I think could be underestimated on a returning season 2 and do very well.
Mhm.
Because I think he
I think
just
he needs
wasn't
allies. That's all he needs
Yeah.
he
is
wasn't dealt with a
allies,
great
you know?
hand this
Yeah.
season. And it happens.
It happens.
I think lots of good players, like people that have potential to be good, have just can't get the people on their side, you know? He just couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
All his people kept going.
Yeah. So
And he was on kind of the messy pre-merge tribe, so I think that didn't help him either. They were kind of like the misfit tribe a little bit.
Yeah.
so at 4, I seen a tweet by Marianne, which was hilarious. She goes, "Why does all these men want to go to fire? Like I avoided that thing like the plague."
Yeah. Because they
That's
felt they
funny.
needed to prove something, I guess.
Yeah.
Like clearly, you know, but yeah, that was funny. I saw that one because they were like, put me in,
Put
put
me
me in.
Owen both wanted to, Gabler wanted to, and Cassie really never considered going herself in. Jesse
Yeah.
did try to get her to go in, which is a bold move. I think the move would have. I think he did the right move because Owen and Gabler wanted to go in. So even if Jesse said, "Hey, go tell her she should go in," they're not going to do that because they wanted to go in.
Yeah. And they wanted him gone.
They wanted him gone.
Yeah.
And look, Jesse kind of got a little unlucky. He started to get fired, but Gabler literally got the fire the fastest and set a record, the fastest
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that, like, I mean, like people are like, "Oh, boo-hoo about the fire," but that's something to consider when Jesse lost. He did have a fire; it just wasn't nearly as fast as Gabler.
Yeah. He got it going. He just
He
couldn't.
crushed it. I mean, you got to give him that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to.
Neither do I, trust me.
But what do you think of this decision of her throwing Gabler in?
I think it was smart because she knew we could beat him. You know, she's confident in his skills. And she thought that the winner was between her and Owen out of the three of them. They did not think that Gabler was would be a threat to either of them winning.
Yeah.
So she didn't want to give Owen that little bit of a resume boost to have taking Jesse out in fire. So she made the right choice for her.
Yeah, even at the final 5 when they had the reward, which was steak and stuff, which I would have died for. Owen and Cassidy both said, "Look, Gabler don't got much of a chance." So they both had that read where they thought Gabler didn't have much of a chance.
Yes.
That
Yeah,
was
they
stated
absolutely
out loud by both of them at that reward, and they meant it.
did.
So I totally get why she did what she did. Now, I felt like I was always on the Gabler's better than Owen train.
Mm-hmm.
but that's easier for me to say that
From the
watching from the
outside.
outside.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's easier said than done because, like, you don't know what they're talking about in the jury house, or
Yeah.
you don't know what like Cassie felt like she had a clear grasp on the game, and there was things that she didn't know about, and
Mhm.
Gabler did, and that was thrown out during tribal, and that just didn't make her look good. And Owen just sat there and looked nice.
And I think that she shared in Exit Press that the rhetoric around camp at 5, 6, 7, 5 people in the game is that nobody was worried about Gabler because they didn't feel like he was a threat to win. So therefore, that made her feel that way because that had been the consensus around camp. And that's especially why she was so surprised because she's like, what the heck, guys? Like, where was all this at camp that I should even be worried about Gabler at all? So I feel bad in that regard because she was reading the situation that was on the island and what people were saying, but that ain't what happened.
Yeah. So we get our final three: Gabler, Owen, and Cassidy. And look,
But wait,
what?
that was horribly sad watching Jesse
Oh
go.
yes, Jesse had his big goodbye, like his big hero moment. Like they had the music playing for him, and
It was
him.
it
It
was
was a
sad.
nice final goodbye for a
Yeah,
great player, you know?
yeah, and I felt like we got like a send off. Like the jury sent him off in a way that they sent Suri off in Game Changers.
Yeah.
Well, is it quite the standing ovation? But
You knew he
got
had their
he
respect.
got one, in a way. Like he
Yeah.
got like a Mockingjay in the sky or something, like from all of them. They were vividly cheering for
Cheering for
Jesse,
him. Yes.
and they wanted, like, Jesse was winning against anybody after Cody
Cody.
left.
I
After
agree.
that Cody move, he was winning against anybody, even Carla.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
so and that was very, very, very clear. As soon as that fire started, everyone was like, "Come on, Jesse! Come on, Jesse!" And how often does that happen?
Right. I agree. Like they were invested in cheering for him. You know, I was like, wow, that says a lot that jury wants him to win so that they could be able to vote him the winner. They
Yeah,
didn't even need a final tribal council if Jesse had gotten there. Just, okay, Jesse, bye. Let's go.
yeah.
Jeff, give us our pizza and champagne.
You think he
Uh,
wins unanimous?
yeah. I find if Gabler can get 7, yes.
Absolutely. Like,
I mean, be better, Frank.
God.
It's so ridiculous. I just don't get it.
Yeah, he probably wins unanimous.
He better.
All right, so where do you think Jesse ranks against non-winners all time now? His game.
Against what?
Like, where do you think he would rank with non-winning players? Best non-winning players.
Non-winning. Oh, okay. Oh, he's up there. He's going to
He's
be a memorable player. That move of playing Cody's idol on him in his face on somebody else while flushing like it's just one of those moves that get talked about. Parvati's double idol play. Everybody talks about that. Everybody talks about Wentworth idling out Savage. Like it's going to be one of those moves that are just a topic of conversation always because and like I said, players don't get many opportunities to pull something like that off. It literally has to be the perfect storm. That is why there are so few moves like that because it really takes everything to go your way and it happened to go Jesse's way, you know.
Yeah. How about
Cody
you,
had
James?
I think he's probably close to top 5. I mean, the only ones I can really think of that I immediately would put above him that haven't won are Suri, Rob C, and Dominic. I think those are 3 I would put ahead of him. I don't know about anyone else though off the top of my head.
I don't have a running list in my mind, but if you gave me a list, I'd rank them. But yeah, he played a really, really, really good game and a really good social.
And
They liked him too, you know.
Mhm.
the crappy thing is, I think if he comes back in a season, which I mean, I'm sure he's going to be back. If anyone would
If
come
he
back
wants to
from the
play again.
season, it's got to be him.
Mhm.
So I think as long as he wants to play again, he's going to be back. And I mean, that cast is going to have to be really good for him not to be a huge threat right away.
As long as they get a bunch of good returning players, hopefully he can blend in for a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for too.
I think they have a great pull for a second chance season. So I'm hoping we see something like that soon. Returning seasons are my favorite.
Mm-hmm. I think a second chance season, even if they pull people only from people who played after the first second chance, they
Yeah,
still got a really
Ton
good,
of people. What
good
number
crop.
season was that?
Tons.
Do you know?
But what? Say
What
again.
number season was that? Do you know?
31.
31.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
They have so many people. If David versus Goliath, they have like 4 or 5 people easily they could put on that cast if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Like-
I mean, even if half of the people they took were from 41 on, there's still maybe like 10 people from the last 3 seasons
Oh,
that I
there's
would like to
Shan,
see.
Ricard,
Give me Evie. Give me Omer.
Omer.
Who else is in 42?
Jonathan would for sure
Mike.
be.
Oh.
Mike.
I'd rather see Mike than Jonathan.
But you know,
Which Mike?
production loves Jonathan.
The one who lost last season, the old guy.
No. Not him. Not for me. I want to see. I think this player. We're so off track, but I think this player gets a lot of flack for her game. She made one mistake, and everybody acts like she's the worst player ever. But I liked her, and I liked what people had to say about her and her game. Is from 42 Janelle.
Yeah, I liked her too.
Oh,
she had a lot of potential.
She did, and she is the only one that risked her vote, and then it backfired. Everybody else risked it, and it went their way. The difference is she risked it, and it went bad for her. That is her only mistake in the game, and High didn't want to play with her and tarnish.
Yeah, her only trouble that might not get her cast is that the people that did make it a little farther than her, there was a strong group of players. So,
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but I mean, I could see her bringing her back.
And she's very I follow her. She's super cool, super interactive. I can message her, but she's very involved in the community. So I know she's made a lot of friends, and that really helps on a returning season.
Yeah. I do think she was young when she first played too, right?
She's in her 20s. She's late 20s.
Okay. I felt like she was younger when she played for some reason. But yeah, even if you, like you said, even if you pull from these last 3 seasons, like you can easily pull 3 people from each season.
Yeah.
Maybe 41 be a little bit tougher to pull a third, but because you have for sure Shan and Ricard.
I would not want
no, let me rephrase that. They would bring Xander back. Xander, they would just
I don't want that. But I would not. I am a Shan lover, a Shan defender. And
they could bring Danny back.
I don't think he's not coming. He's so pissed still about the knowledge or the
hourglass.
He's not coming back. Never. That. He's in the challenge. But I would not bring Shan back, even though I love her, even though I defend her till the day's end. And I run a couple of survivor groups for people that don't know. And the lies people say about this woman it's just astonishing. But I would not bring her back because I just don't think that she has, I just won't bring her back. Even though I love her, I think that she'll be voted out first. As soon as they see her, she's going to be gone. Like, that's what I think with alumni, especially if it's like 41 on. She's not.
I agree. And I'm a big Shan fan as well. I loved her Shanthem. So I would love to see her play again.
I would too, but I just think that some of the relationships she has or does not have is not going to work in her favor.
I agree. I think.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I think she would definitely probably be an earlier boot.
Yeah.
Just like I don't know if Drea and Omar could play on the same season because of
leave Drea home.
Yeah. I'd rather see Omar. So
I love Omar. Have him back in a second. I really
he was my favorite from that season.
I love him.
Yeah, I think they could make a stellar cast.
I want
Stellar.
also this girl. I'm really cool with her too. She's really personable. Lauren Ashley Beck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved her.
She I don't think a lot of people maybe like were in love with her like in her season necessarily, but postseason she does a lot in the Survivor community. She runs those parties in LA, and I just think that she has a lot of connections in the community, kind of like Sandra does. And if she came back, she's going to have a lot of people in her pocket. I feel like
I
to
think
work with.
I think she could. I mean, I think she could have won her season she was on if she had just gotten to the end,
Yeah.
possibly, which she was
Yes.
right there. So
She went
I
out of
mean,
fire. If she
yeah,
would have got there, I think she had a fair shot. So
yeah.
So, all right. So we get to the final three. FTC.
Yeah.
Let's get
Back
back on
on
track
track.
here.
sorry.
FTC. I think it was pretty apparent right off the bat. Owen wasn't winning the game. He didn't get a question for like the first 2 or 3 questions. I felt like besides the general questions to all 3 of them, like the one-on-one questions, we got one with Gabler, we got one with Cassidy, but it felt like it took a minute to get one to Owen, and
Mhm.
then Cassidy wasn't facing that good of questions. She was getting very challenged. But I said this earlier. I think where Gabler really snatched it from her and maybe stole a couple votes from her was when she said her best move of the game was getting Ryan out. And Gabler was like, "Oh, no, no, no. That was me, Cody, and Jesse. We had a plan going to tribal. If James is gone, we're voting Ryan. If James is not gone, we're voting you." So
Yeah.
only because James was gone, Ryan went.
That's what
Yeah.
And
did her in.
that really, I think, sunk her game because she's like, oh, and she really did. That was her best move, and Gabler is like, no, that was more of a my move than your move.
Yeah, I think that she was already done before
Yeah,
before she answered anything. Honestly, to me, you could tell that the jury was very warm towards Gabler and not so much her. So I just think that the girl didn't have a chance. Like, I don't think there's anything that she could have said in that tribal that was going to give her that win. Maybe a couple of votes, possibly, but I think they can't largely were in favor of Gabler for whatever reason. I don't understand still.
I don't either.
but
Oh,
I think the relationship with Jesse and Cody and Gabler was stronger than we were presented
yeah.
because Gabler announced it a few times at Tribal, and he really got the boys hollering and hollering for him, and they got to say we did these things together, and he's the only one left. That really boosted him. I feel like. I think Cassie, the way she presented herself, wasn't the way the jury wanted her to present herself, and they said that as much at the reunion. Do I
Yeah,
necessarily
what did
agree?
you say?
Carla said that they felt like Gabler checked the most boxes what they wanted to hear
Okay,
from him.
I did hear
And
that part. Okay.
yeah, where they said they wanted to hear X, Y, and Z from Owen, X, Y, and Z for Cassie, X, Y, and Z from Gabler, and they felt like Gabler checked most of the boxes off from what they wanted to hear. And I think they wanted their ego stroked a little bit.
Yes.
And Gabler gave them that. And he made them
Yes.
laugh and feel good about themselves. And
Yep.
that's where Gabler succeeded, where Cassie failed.
I
And
think she. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think that. I mean, I get your point 100%, but I think that she was just trying to be confident in the game that she played and stand on that and own it and say I did play a good game, but unfortunately that didn't seem to go over well. You know, you can't ever predict how a jury is going to respond or what they're going to like or what they're going to respect. You can just go based off of what you think. And for me personally, if somebody was standing up and saying, "Yeah, I played a great game," I'd be like, "Hell yeah, get it, girl!" Like, you know. But they were just like, Noelle did give her a little bit of prop for winning and
Yeah.
everything like that, which I did appreciate.
Yeah. I do. Like I said, I really thought James was for sure going to vote for her. I felt like If Carla left that argument, I was nervous about it, but I felt like she was gonna get like a Janine vote, and she didn't, and I was kind of surprised by that.
I thought she had at least 2 votes. The other coming from Janine, and then I thought Gabler definitely had the Cody and the Ryan vote, and I thought everyone else. I wasn't really sure how everyone else was going to vote.
Yeah. I didn't either, but I sure as heck didn't think no 7-1.
And going in, I thought Owen might be able to snag a couple votes, but it became pretty clear early on in the tribal council that he wasn't going to get any.
Yeah.
And he handled it with grace. Yeah, I give Owen that. Even afterwards, he's like, "Look, I got to play the game that I loved and I've always wanted to play." And he went a big tangent afterwards, and good for him because that must be really hard to know that you didn't get a single vote, and that's tough pill to swallow. That you just did all that and you didn't get a single vote.
See, I think we did touch on it earlier, but I'll just touch on it again. I think it's even harder for the Cassidys and the Mikes of the world who got second. I mean, yet they only both got 1 vote, but they both had a chance, or at least were made to believe they had a chance going into final tribal council, and both didn't win. I think it's even harder for those people to just sit and face the music right then and there.
I completely agree. Did you saw their faces? They're like,
yeah.
And it was with a lot of other people because we're like, what the heck is this? When I swear, Frank messaged me and he was telling me, I was like, what? I'm glad you did because it softened the blow. I was like, I'm sick. Are you kidding, Frank? I thought he was playing with me. I'm like, I'm sick. Are you kidding? 7-1.
I feel like the audience just got played the whole season. Like, we got blindsided.
How often does Survivor make their winners look so goofy? And that's the nicest way to put it, right? Like, they like to present their winners. Even Marianne and Erica, or let me phrase that. Marianne was a little out there, so they kind of gave her that. But Erica was presented as like intelligent and smart.
Yes.
She wasn't presented as, oh, she's silly, goofy, and it's like, oh, she's just being Erica, or he's just being Gabler, or we got that, and he got the dodo music sometimes throughout the season. Survivor doesn't do that very often with their winners, if at all. So
listen, so many people are coming at me in my groups because I done said everywhere, he ain't got a shot in hell.
Yeah, so did I. I got it.
Everybody's coming like Janelle. I was like, well, I was dead wrong, guys.
I'm eating the pills. I'm taking the pills. I said the same thing. we said for weeks, and Amanda kept saying, "There's a chance." Like, shut up, Amanda. There's no chance.
Yeah,
Let it be a lesson to us all. Do not count any of these people
Amanda
out.
was right. We were wrong.
My
James.
friend,
I hope she's listening.
Yeah,
who I work with, texted me like right after, like about 5 minutes after the results last night, and was like, "Gabler gang." Like,
I would have blocked somebody if they text me that mess, and they do too in my groups. But don't, Gabler gang. Listen. I made my 1 post about this season, and I'm checking out because I'm like, God, Gabler, and I'm just like, nope. This what did you send me? Gabler?
Gabler.
Gabler.
I want to say to these people, his name's Mike. Leave me alone.
When did he call himself that? Did that
right after the Ellie vote?
Okay.
Yeah. I'm an
because he's like, I'm gonna be the Gabler. I'm gonna go back down and hide.
So, all right, let's go back to the final tribal just for a sec. I do think, based off of how the edit showed us and how he played the game, I think Gabler did do an, I guess, worthy job of answering the questions, given on what they showed us, like how he answered them, at least how the final tribal was edited.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do have against another thing I have against his final tribal is that I think he brought up that Ellie vote so much. And it's like, that was the like you guys were not even really merged yet. I mean, that was so long ago in the game.
And they gave, and that's why Carla said she voted for him, the Ellie vote, and then he made fire. I'm like,
what about everything that happened in between?
Hello.
it was just,
Very, very sorry. I had to work emergency and I'm on my way back home, but I'm here to participate.
No, you're
okay.
fine.
You're good.
But yeah, he did bring up the Ellie vote a lot, but I did think he did a really good job of not claiming any moves that was not his.
Yeah.
That's something he didn't do because the jury. I don't know how often they do it, but they showed this jury check in with the other members. Did that really happen?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
they did that a few times. I don't recall that happening very often with other jury members. Can you?
Mm-mm. Not off the top of my head, anyway.
That's how. So they were fact checking why they were answering the questions. So Gabler did a really good job of not saying anything. Like he didn't take a move that really Jesse did. He didn't take a
Yeah.
move that Carla did. He said, "This is my role in the situation, and this is what I did." He pushed the move that he did because his was the alley move, whatever. That's fine. And he said, "I did take the fire." He owned the moves that he did instead of pushing where Cassie was trying to present that she was driving the bus more than she actually was. I feel like she was the strong driver the last 2 or 3 votes,
Yeah.
or last
Yeah.
2 votes with the car because she really wanted Carla out.
Yeah.
And then she got Jesse out a little bit too. But throughout the other season, I felt like she was more of a passenger than a driver in those votes.
Yeah.
And I think that's where she presented herself as the driver instead of saying, I wasn't always driving, but I was always in the vehicle with you guys. I was
Yeah.
always included that. And she did say that a little bit, but she came across a little bit as like, I drove this to this situation where
Yeah.
that wasn't 100% true. And they kind of grilled her for that part.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there's a little bit of bitterness, but she really didn't have the most stellar final trial.
Yeah, I agree. Like her performance wasn't A plus. I think possibly she started to feel defeated, and that didn't help her performance. And I've heard her speak postseason, and she's not the best speaker, if you ask me. Just in general, some people like Carla, I find very persuasive, very concise in their arguments. Do you know what I mean? She would have done an amazing job at that final tribal council, and Cassidy doesn't have that skill in her wheelhouse necessarily. You know.
Mm-hmm. I also think she was a little overconfident going into it.
Maybe, yeah. I think that if she had maybe Carla's abilities to articulate her game and express why she should win, I think that possibly if she had done a better job at that, that she would have gotten more votes. It wouldn't have been that landslide, you know. But like it just to me, they just seemed to have a little bit of disdain for her during that tribal for me. They were warm towards Gabler and not necessarily towards her to me from the beginning, but
All right, so
Yeah, they were
Amanda,
against her from the beginning, it seemed like.
any moments that you want to talk about in the finale while you were gone? We kind of went through the whole episode. So
I'm
what?
sorry. Yeah, I
No, you're fine.
apologize.
It's your time to shine
mean-
with Gabler too.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I already did at the beginning of the episode. I mean, the finale episode itself, it was a good finale. I just think it was, it was heartbreaking to see Jesse lose. I think that's, ultimately what they were building us up for was, to see that and to like experience that. They wanted us to really like him and then feel his emotion as he lost. And I think that was the story they were going for, and it definitely worked. It got America to love him. I definitely picture him coming back. And, with the final 3 that was there, I will say I was pretty open to a winner from any of them. I did like Owen's game more than most, and I liked Gabler's game more than most. I didn't, it was a very even final 3 for me. I know a lot of people had Cassidy really high, up above the other two, but I really didn't see it that way. I like Cassidy. I just wish that she would have got more of an edit. Like I wish she would have got more of a Lindsay edit, where maybe she was invisible for a large part of it and then really kicked ass at the end. And I feel like we didn't get that kick ass edit from her like I would have liked to see. I think that Carla really disappointed me. I think that because I liked Carla a lot. And I think like toward the end, she just really didn't, I don't know, her bitterness got to her. And like even her like voting for Gabler as a winner, I thought that she was very cocky and you could see it in her face and like her body language that she was voting for Gabler just so she didn't have to vote for Cassidy. Like you can just see it on her. That's what she was doing. And then I knew at that moment that she had, she did what she said she was going to do and she poisoned that jury against her. And I thought that Cassidy had a very unfair treatment toward her during Final Tribal. Gabler himself, I thought, gave a really good Final Tribal. Did you guys talk about Gabler's Final Tribal?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. I didn't like how light. I'm not a big fan of like the jokey, lighthearted tribals, but I thought that he did it in a good way. It didn't come off as cocky or like, I know I'm going to win this game, ha ha kind of thing. It was, I really enjoy these people and want to enjoy enjoy talking to them, enjoy this game with them. And I think that's what won him the game. I don't know. I think that there are reasons why Gabler won this game and they are justified. I don't think he just won for no reason. I guess that's like a good way to put it.
All right. Well, is there anything else we want to touch on before we end this?
So I'll ask one more thing.
All right.
Do we think that Gabler needed this perfect final three to have a chance to win? Or obviously he had to beat Jesse. Do we think he had any chance to beat even Cody or Carla?
No.
I don't think so.
No. He literally got the perfect storm.
Yeah, he did.
And bitter people.
So yeah. I think that this is something you can go back to when, like, I'm not saying it was all luck, but when you have to say there's some luck involved to win Survivor, I think this will be a season that people go back to and say, listen, like, anybody can win this game. It really just, it fell into place for this goofy old guy who the jury happened to like. And he just was right place at the right time, really.
Listen, if I was ever on Survivor, my line is going to be like, if Gabler can win, I can win.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If Gabler can do it, I can do it. That's how I feel about it. If Gabler can do it, then I can do it.
I mean, let's look at like Gabler. This is not the first type of win we've had like this, though. Like, look at Fabio's win. Like, it was along the lines of the same thing. Where like,
but
he didn't play that great of a game. He had a perfect final three.
He didn't run away with it all, did he? I don't know what the vote count for him is.
Fabio won by 1 vote.
Yeah, and I think that they say that what is her name? Purple Kelly voted, she quit during the season, justifiably in my opinion, but they say part of the reason that she voted him was because he was kind to her. She was freezing and he always gave her her jacket. So she voted for him. And that's a valid vote to me. If you can extend me kindness in a game that's so nasty, cutthroat, and everybody's trying to lop everybody's heads off, and you take care to let me wear your jacket so I don't freeze, that's going to get some brownie points with people, especially if the other two.
We've seen people with jackets get their vote out because of it in Survivor.
Natalie?
Yeah. Have your jacket? Natalie?
Yes. Natalie? I love Angelina.
Iconic.
Jacket needs to be in the Survivor Hall of Fame.
I'd love to see Angelina play again. I loved her.
Me too.
And you know what? I don't think I necessarily did on my first watch, but my second, she had me dying. And I really like her on social media. She just had her second baby, so I doubt we'll see her anytime soon. Love to see Angelina back. I love her.
She was gold, TV gold.
I agree.
She'll be back if the timing's right for her.
Yeah, it's gonna take a couple years because literally her baby's maybe a month. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she does. I think her husband's they're pretty doing really well. So it's not like she needs the money.
Yeah.
Right.
From I don't know for sure, but just from the
Respect.
outside looking in.
She got no like respect, I don't think, from that jury.
Now
A lot of
I think it's because she was out there. She was a character,
she was.
I
and
bet.
everyone felt like she was a character.
Nora was a character, you
gosh.
know. But I didn't care for her that much.
No.
Oh, I like Nora.
Did
I
you?
did.
She irked
I
my
did.
soul.
My favorite Nora moment was when she was trying to compete against herself so everyone could eat longer.
Listen, I'm never
I
gonna
love
forgive
Nora.
her for putting Lauren in fire like that. I'm so mad at her for that.
Oh, dude, Lauren's
Nora.
beautiful in person. Gorgeous.
That's my girl. I like we could
Dude,
we
she's
inbox.
beautiful.
Yes, I love her. I'm gonna
She's
tell her.
so
I'm like,
nice.
Lauren, I was podcasting with this girl. I'm gonna tell her after we get off here.
You should tell her that I was at Hearts of Reality and that she was just like literally stunning the whole time.
I'm gonna tell her. I can't wait.
I don't know if I got a picture with her. I feel like every time I went to go like just take a picture with her, she always had like a posse of other survivors around her.
Yeah.
So I didn't ever get to see her by herself. I did get Tasha though. I did see Tasha, meet Tasha, which was really cool. Like last minute.
I'm so
Really neat.
jealous. Frank told me last time we were podcasting or before we started that you were going. I'm like, I hate her. I need to go.
I want to go.
You
next
need to
year.
go.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
Where do you live if you don't mind? Well, you don't have to say now. Never mind. But are
Oh,
you
I don't care.
Oh, okay.
Everyone knows. I live like 2 hours above St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
So I flew. I mean, I drove to St. Louis and then flew down to Orlando.
Still
Friday
flying
morning.
distance for me, even if I probably live the closest. But
Yeah, I'm in Pennsylvania,
it.
so I'm far.
I
Yeah,
live
you are
in Maryland, so
Yeah,
not too bad.
I don't know. I want to plan it. I think I'm gonna try playing it next year.
I really want to go. I told
Yeah,
my
I didn't really know about it till like a month ago. That was really like the thing this year. But
Let's
I
plan
need
a
to
trip,
go.
James.
yeah,
Throw it down.
I would.
Amanda's going too.
I don't know if I could like
Whoa.
contain myself with some of them. I'd be so excited. They would be like, "Who's this weirdo?" That would be me. I'm like, certain ones are just
Listen,
freak
we
me out.
went when we went. Schaefer was with me, and Schaefer literally met Sandra and was speechless. Like he was starstruck. He couldn't talk.
Xander.
He was like, "Yes, Sandra."
Sandra.
Like Sandra.
Oh, I thought you said
Yes, like
Xander. I was like,
no, Sandra.
okay, I can understand that then. Yeah.
And Michael was like starstruck, dude. He couldn't even talk to her. It was great. And then there was me with Troy Zan, like shaking. I couldn't even move.
Troy Sam.
I love Troy Zan so much.
I know. I don't know why.
Did you meet Joseph?
Yes, he's so hot.
Okay, let's
Sorry,
end this
Frank.
here. If you guys go on this big tangent, thank you guys for watching.
Okay,
That was
Frank.
the finale. I think overall we were like lukewarm on it. Where would you rank it out of the three, real quick, before we end it?
The since 40?
From 40, 41,
41,
42,
42,
43.
43. That's my order.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine's 42, 43, 41.
Yeah.
42, 43, 41 for me.
Oh, you suck. Frank.
I think I need to digest it. I think the winner is better on 41. So I'm going to give it to 41 and be 42, 41, 43 for me at the moment.
Wait, 42, 41, 43. Okay.
Yes.
42 is a top is like a top 20 season to me.
I really enjoyed 42. And I think the winners is 40.
Oh, Marianne's fantastic.
To me, it's Erica, Marianne, Gabler.
You think Erica's a better winner than Marianne?
He's so high on Erica.
I know he is. I don't. I'm not.
I'd say the
she's
same.
better winner than Gabler, but not than Marianne.
She was the driving force through most of the game.
I agree, Frank. I'll give it to Erica, Marianne, and then Gabler somewhere in Oblivion for me.
I loved Marianne's game.
Did you meet her?
So did I.
Yes, I did.
So I hate you, Amanda.
All right, so we'll talk about this season more as it digests on us and all that jazz. But until next time, we'll talk to you guys later. Let us know how you feel about Survivor 43 and that Adla Gabler being our reigning Survivor champion.
Amanda's fantasy pick.
Amanda's
Adla
fantasy
Gabler.
pick. Go, Amanda. Until next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye, guys.